we're on page 6. This is case number 822-846-652C, National Default Servicing Corporation versus Jerald Wheat et al. Could I have appearances of counsel, please? Starting with counsel in the courtroom.
Hi, Spencer Judd, appearing with Scott MacDonald.
Good morning, Mr. Judd. All right, any counsel on blue jeans?
Good morning, Your Honor. Chris Connell on behalf of Eva Wheat.
So we are here today on an order to show cause for J Scott MacDonald Esquire as to why Rule 11 sanctions should not be imposed based on the court's prior order in which the court found that a prima facie showing has been made that Mr. MacDonald had violated NRCP 11B1 and 3 by presenting a written motion and other papers to the court for an improper purpose and containing factual allegations without evidentiary support, that improper purpose being an attempt to obtain funds that do not belong to him and or that he was not authorized to receive on behalf of a client, and those factual contentions being his representation of Jerald and Eva Maria Wheat. Accordingly, the court asked Mr. MacDonald to appear and show cause as to why his conduct had not violated Rule 11B1 and 3 and why the court should not impose sanctions under Rule 11C4. So, Mr. Judd, this is your client's cause to show. I'll let you begin.
Your Honor, a couple of things. One, I will, just for the court's notice, he has been in contact with Mr. Wheat, but we are not alleging that he is trying to represent him. Understands there is a violation, and we're not going to say that there is not a violation. The court has the ability under Rule 11C4 to issue sanctions, and we would understand that if the court issues sanctions for fees and court costs, attorney fees and court costs and expenses, that there would be no objection to those. And I will, for the court's notice, he is represented by former Judge Rob Baer, and the State Bar is aware of this, and Mr. Baer is representing him with the matter with the State Bar.
Okay. All right, Mr. Connell, this isn't really your order to show cause, but given that your client, at least one of the Wheats, Eva Maria Wheat, I'll give you an opportunity to speak if you have anything to add.
I have nothing to add, Your Honor. I was just observing. I wanted to hear, what was going on. So I have nothing to add, Your Honor.
Okay, so this is what the court is going to do. The court is going to presumptively award Mr. Connell, and I understand, Mr. Connell, you and your client have not asked for this, but I assume your client, Eva Maria Wheat, has incurred some fees throughout this process, unrelated to the motion you filed to request disbursement of the funds, correct? I assume she's incurred some fees for your having to come in here the last time we were at the hearing, and for your having to file a notice of appearance and talk to Mr. MacDonald about the substitution, so on and so forth?
Yeah, Your Honor, there have been fees related to my representation. However, I took the case on a contingency, so that'll be up to her how she wants to proceed. But she is ostensibly responsible for an hourly fee in the event that it goes sideways. So, I can prepare a motion for that, Your Honor, or however you'd like to handle. It's just my desire to get her taken care of, and me personally to move on past this case. Okay,
so what I'm going to do is I'm going to presumptively grant fees. You don't need to make a motion for fees, Mr. Connell. What I need you to do is I need you to submit evidence of your fees.
Sure.
And on the hourly basis, you can just do that in this situation through an attorney affidavit that describes the work you did and the chart and your hourly rate multiplied by those hours. And then I'll conduct the Brunzell analysis as to whether or not that's reasonable. And presuming it's reasonable, I will grant the fees. If it's not reasonable, I'll make some modifications.
Understood. Appreciate it.
No problem, Mr. Connell. And the fees, by the way, are would not include the motion to disperse, because you would have done that anyway. It includes the other stuff other than the motion
Correct.
to disperse. Okay.
Correct, Your Honor.
All right. Very good. So Mr. Judd, I have thought about kind of confines of Rule 11. And one of the confines of Rule 11 about sanctions is that I can impose sanctions to the extent necessary to deter future conduct. And I've thought a lot about that here. And frankly, I haven't come up with anything. I think this is more of a matter for the state bar. And so I'm not going to oppose any sanctions other than the presumptive fees that I've awarded, simply because I think the actions that are going to be undertaken to deter any future conduct or similar conduct is going to be undertaken by the state bar in this instance. I want to leave this by saying, Mr. MacDonald, I appreciate that you showed up both at the last hearing and this hearing. I don't know you. I know you've been in this community for a very long time. I have to imagine there are or were circumstances in your life that led you to undertake the actions that you undertook in this case. And what I'll say as a fellow member of the bar is that, I hope that those issues will get sorted in your life. But I do appreciate that you came last time. I do appreciate that you came here today. And I appreciate that through your counsel that you took responsibility for the Rule 11 violations. So thank you very much. Once I get the submission from Mr. Connell, Mr. Judd, you're of course allowed to object to it if you think that what he submits is not consistent with Brunzell. Just object within 14 days. Mr. Connell, I'm going to ask you to make your submission within 14 days by the 15th. Mr. Judd will have 14 days to object. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on for an in-chambers status check on April the 7th to review the submissions and any objections to the submissions. And then I will get an order on the sanctions and the amount of sanctions on or about April 7th, once that in-chamber status check is done. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Have a good day.
Thank you, Your Honor.